Hey everyone, welcome to the special episode of the Hey Brother podcast. We've got a lot of content out. We're like 40, I guess this is episode 48, so 48 episodes into this podcast endeavor. And today I wanted to do a little bit special, different kind of episode where we actually go back and look at 5 moments from the Hey Brother podcast that I found particularly helpful, impactful. And I want to invite you guys to, just re-encounter them, share your thoughts in the comments below, and just take these 5 minute moments and just look them over again with me. So the first one comes from my interview with Father Ethan Moore, and he talks about a beer run and the importance of community. And I want you guys to check that one out.
We do need each other,
Yeah.
and we need to share life together. And when we do, like, at least for me, it is so life giving. It like recharges the batteries. It gives me fuel.
Yeah.
So it's something that I pursue on the regular, very
awesome.
intentionally now.
What is that? I imagine like drinking beer, brewing beer, all the above with priest, or is there?
It's actually B double R double R. Sorry, B double E double R U N.
Beer run.
Oh yeah, all you need is a 10 and a 5er, keys to a car, and
Yeah.
a sober driver. No, no, actually, truly. So this has been a big thing. I read a book. Well, when I say read, I mean audio booked. I
Nice.
listened to a book. That's how I read now more than ever.
It's awesome. Audiobooks are great.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
And the audiobook was entitled, it's a true story,
Yeah.
called The Greatest Beer Run Ever. And it's in the Vietnam era,
Okay.
and it follows this particular borough of New York City and zooms in a little bit further into this one neighborhood and this one bar. And this one owner of the bar, they call him the captain, is kind of just having this monologue. As you might know, Vietnam came with a lot of hesitancy and negativity and unrest, and the draft having a major impact within that. So this bar owner, the captain, he's having this kind of conversation one evening, and he's just saying, our boys are over there doing the best they can. We just got to support our boys and support them and affirm them. And they just, they're doing everything that they can for our country. And he's like, what would be great? If someone would go over there and give them a beer. And this guy like raises his hands. He's like, I'll do it. So that's actually what happens. That's the rest of the book. This guy, whose nickname they called him Chicky, he was on a maritime vessel. He snuck on Schlitz malt liquor, which is a New York State beer.
Okay.
And he had a rap sheet of where a number of the men from that area of the city were actually stationed in Vietnam.
Wow.
So then he goes and finds them in their foxholes. Like, the most common line in the book is like, Chicky, what in the world are you doing here? And he goes, I came here to bring you a beer. And they're like, what? Okay. And what's so powerful to me about that book and that story is the radical hospitality and the pursuit of that fraternity that is so profound.
Yeah.
And so Father Jeff Stevens, who's at the University of Cincinnati, him and I have been going regularly on beer runs to visit different people. And
Nice.
it's been a blast just to see people who wouldn't think two priests would spend time to just have time with them.
Yeah.
So it's almost kind of shaped the way, I live friendship now with brother priests and others outside of that.
Sure.
Yeah, so it's been awesome.
That intentionality, that's awesome. That's it's an inspiring story that I'm sure a lot of folks here in Maria Stein area, Mercer County area can appreciate because there's that deep love for for community and for beer here.
Right.
And it's like but the attractive piece isn't like the beer. Father Ethan has such a special place in my heart. He was a spiritual father for me for many years, and I just enjoyed that conversation with him. If you want to see that rest of that conversation or listen to the rest of that conversation, that was episode 30 of the Hey Brother podcast. I'll put the description the link to all of the clips that we're showing here. The next one was a clip from an interview that I had with Bobby Angel. So that was episode 18. We both went through the Catholic Psych program together. We're in a small group and all that fun stuff together. And in this clip, he shares about the importance of brotherhood, not staying at the surface level, but going deep. What is the importance of deeper brotherhood? So check it out.
Yeah. We either minimize it and we're like, well, I'm fine on my own. We kind of go the lone wolf. Or the funny thing too of like, we tend to also over sexualize it. Mm-hmm. You know, in different movies or media, where I don't see it as much anymore, but there was for a while there, like any attempted serious male friendship had to be like, well, it became this kind of same, like just either in a mocking way or of like some kind of same-sex attraction thing going on. It just makes it difficult to like, no, like, we need to have that genuine like philia, like the Greek word of brotherly love. Like how important that is.
Yeah, even like the term like bromance, right? Kind of over sexualizes it, right?
Yeah, but even there, it was this kind of way of trying to reclaim that.
Yeah,
like because people would use it in an affectionate way, like, oh, you got like a bromance with this guy, because there is this like, I want to be in his company. Yeah, I like being around this guy, and we don't. When my wife and I will present on love, I love getting into the whole the four loves of, you know, in Greek you've got these at least four different variations of the phenomena of love.
Yeah,
and we tend to eros, make erotic everything, when it's like no, it's a philia, genuine. This is the guy willing to jump on a grenade for you kind of love.
Yeah,
like we bros, there's no commitment in a way, like there's no challenge. That's the whole you do you thing. Like he's not going to challenge me, I'm not going to challenge him. We have fun together, but that's it. It's very superficial. And the ache of the heart is like, actually I want a guy who's willing to jump on a grenade for me and I for him.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think what you're saying, it's like so easy as a man to kind of minimize that need, or like ignore that need, or even like just miss it, like, and think that it's something like you see it and then you think being a bro is going to solve that, right? Like you feel like you have brotherhood, but it's really kind of the shallow end of brotherhood and not really like that deeper fulfillment of like, yeah, actually this guy got my back. And it's easy to kind of miss that. So you were saying in your story though, like you started to experience that almost like a deepening through each stage of life, starting with college, then having some of that in being a firefighter, and then seminary was maybe another highlight of that aspect of growing in brotherhood or understanding deeper brotherhood.
Totally, because seminary, you're surrounded with men, surprise, who are all asking the same question: am I called to be a priest? And you got guys straight out of high school, you got guys a few years of college or in the world like me. We had guys in their 30s and 40s, and from like coming from careers and professions, and now we all have to learn philosophy and are, 30-year-old men altar serving. And it just was and living in community. Like that's the interesting thing too. It's like you're living in this is a whole other topic, but like you live in a very religious monastery dynamic.
Okay.
Yet you're training to be a parish priest who is like often living alone.
Yeah.
Maybe you get another guy or two, but it's a blessing if you have that and you get along. And I think this is a growing awareness of like, to send a parish priest to go live on his own is really a dangerous situation.
Yeah.
because we're not meant to be loners. We're meant for community. So we're trained in kind of this monastic way, but then you're sent out to like, all right, good luck out there. So, and there's other dioceses that are trying to like create common households of priests and make sure that they're not so isolated, which is, when we can get into trouble as men.
Yeah.
But to rewind back a bit, yeah, it's like you're living in a household with all sorts of other guys, and even the guys you like can tend to rub on you after a while, and you learn how to communicate, you learn how to bit by bit deal with conflict.
Yeah.
And
How long were you at the seminary?
This next clip comes from one of our most popular episodes that me and Mitch did, and just sat down. It wasn't really a reaction to any conversation, just me and Mitch sitting down and sharing thoughts about Mercer County. And in it, we really talk about like, what is our role as parents? How are we actually helping our kids set up for success? And I just thought this was a really good, powerful clip, and always good to beckon back to Mercer County. And we're still waiting for that negative piece of fan mail that we talked about in the episode. I always challenge people to reach out if they disagree or agree with what we're saying. So check this one out.
Sure. If you did your job and helped them to learn who Jesus is, and like make a relationship with him, then you wouldn't have to be a Saint Monica, right?
Yeah.
And like, I'm not trying to be like overly contentious about that. I'm just saying like that's the reality. And like, if the Saint Monica lifestyle is like where you're at and where you need to be, where you just need praying for your kids to come back, but then you need to do that. But like, I don't know. I mean, like, even our parents were on a panel. I don't know if you knew this the other week, but they were on like, how do you keep your kids Catholic? And like,
yeah, I talked to Dad about that.
Yeah.
He's like, what do you think I should say? Like, lead with humility. Like, I don't know what there is to say. Like,
well, I mean, like, yeah, and like, I'm like, why? The real question that I'm having about that is like, why is in this land of great Catholic church steeples, why is that even a question?
yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's just, and like I said, I'm being probably a little over critical and over harsh.
Yeah.
But it's just like, it's just out of a place of frustration, right? Because like you can see the good and the true and the beautiful of the Catholic Church when you step away from that place.
Right.
And like, it shouldn't be like that.
Right. That should be where it's most emphasized, right?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, and most lived out. And yeah, I think it's a great challenge. So it's like, why is that a question? I didn't even think about that when I was talking with Dad. I'm like, lead with humility, and like, I began to reflect on like, why did our family grow up with a Catholic faith? And I think one thing that Mom and Dad did well was that they surrounded us around Catholic people that were outside of Mercer County, in a lot of ways through Catholic family land.
Yeah, right. I mean, like, that's where I first encountered Jesus, was at Catholic family land, and I first fell in love with him when I was in college. Right.
Right. And maybe there's something like gospel here too, right? Like in our own like journeys, like where something about our hometown just doesn't, like, we need to go outside of our hometown to encounter the Lord. But at the same time, it's like, it is too far common of a question of like, why is this like passing on the faith such a hard thing to do, when in general, like all of America, like Ben talked about it, right? Like all of America kind of struggles with it. But the one place where you think it should be right, or they're actually getting it right, is God's country, but they're not. And like, that question is there. And it's a good challenge, because it's like I want my kids to walk with the faith. And maybe it's simply, or grow up with the faith and like become Catholics, like living authentically living in the Catholic faith. Maybe it just wasn't like a question that previous generations wrestled with enough. Maybe it was like a cultural complacency that like, oh yeah, like take it for granted. Like, yeah, I'm Catholic. And I think that speaks to the culture as a whole in Mercer County, is that it's really easy to take things for granted there.
Yeah.
Like really, really, really easy.
Yeah.
Because you're blocked off from a lot of shitty things in life.
All right, this next clip is another one where me and Mitch sit down. Actually, it wasn't from too long ago. We talked about Minecraft, we talked about Skyrim, we talked about a lot of our favorite video games. But really in this clip, we talk about how video games can actually lead us into a deeper place of prayer by using our imagination. So I want to invite you guys to check this one out. This is from episode 46 maybe. Again, not too far away from, modern time when this episode drops. So here it goes.
While it also is a very fun social game, like I don't know if I play Minecraft actually solo,
Right.
but you play kind of like, even when you're playing with someone, in my experience, you're just like, it's just like a phone call, right? You're just talking. It's kind of like the remote having a beer with someone, right? It's you're just chatting while doing something, but that thing that you're doing is Minecraft instead of
drinking beer.
instead of drinking a beer. And it can work like that because Minecraft, the way Minecraft is, it's just Legos, right?
Right, yeah.
It's digital Legos. And so like everything you can say that's good and virtuous about Legos, I feel like you can say the same thing about Minecraft because it enables your creative side, right? You can like be bad at Minecraft and like make a dirt box with a flat roof on it and call that your home.
Right.
Or you can like get creative and make like an aesthetically pleasing kind of looking house.
Yeah.
In the same way that like you can like, like in Legos, you just build like 4 walls and maybe cut out a door for your Legos. Or you can build like a Lego Death Star,
Yeah. It might be the best game of all time. I mean, grossing wise,
It definitely is. Right?
money wise, yeah, it's out the wazoo. Like the guy who made it's a billionaire.
Yeah.
Which is nuts. Swedish billionaire. But the reason is like what you're saying. It's so open box or sandbox, like open, imaginative. And what got me sold on it was like, this was probably like 10 years ago at this point. No, maybe not quite 10 years. Maybe COVID.
Yeah.
You're like, hey, watch this Hermitcraft series.
Yeah.
Or maybe not even Hermitcraft. It was like Last Life or like one of the Minecraft series where I'm like, okay, like whatever. And then
I think I told you to do Last Life and then you got into Hermitcraft.
yeah. Oh yeah. But I mean, I was hooked because it's like you're watching, and like this is where my desire to be creative myself is like, I want to do more of this, less watching, being more creative, whether that's like either playing video games or just in real life. But like you're watching people be creative, and not only be creative, they're also like creating these wild narratives that like it's so good. Like we're so engaged by stories, and that's what like the original PS2 games captured. But also like in a real life, it's like this, like we're made for narrative, and that's why I think Minecraft is such a great video game, is because there's this participation in creation, and like that's what we're called to as men, like to participate in creation. And you can do that to some degree in a video game. And like it's there's something life-giving about it that is like, yeah, I'm making what is in my head come to life.
Yeah.
Like
And even like in extending it past Minecraft, I'm thinking of like RPG games too, where it's fun. Like Skyrim is maybe personally my favorite game ever. Maybe not for the greatest reasons, because like we can talk about the unvirtuous side here in a little bit about games and just being total sinks into it. But even like our role-playing games, it's just like it's the same idea of as like being like an actor in like a play too, right? It's like you can just take on the persona and like in put in your brain space like,
I am Dova King.
yeah.
There's something active in it.
Yeah, and
it
like imaginative, and it makes you feel like a kid again in a good way, right?
Yeah.
And you, I mean, honestly, exploring your imagination is like something that's good.
It can lead you to really profound prayer, right? Like
I was thinking about that.
Meditation, and a lot of times like you just like, if you're able to imagine what it's like to be a Skyrim character, right, for a minute, like how much more so could you take that to like imagining Christ walking the streets of Jerusalem, right?
Exactly.
Or, like, on his way to his passion and cross and like death, right? There's a lot there.
I did Hallow through Lent this year.
Okay.
Well, like half of it.
Yeah.
I did the half that was following Takashi Nagai's story.
Okay.
Which was like Mondays, Tuesdays, and Wednesdays.
Okay.
But on Wednesdays, they had Sister Miriam, lead a session of imaginative prayer, and like the one that really stood out to me was like she led a session where you're like sitting at the dinner table with the Holy Family, like they invited you over, and like it was very easy to enter into that space for me because of like my experience playing video games and whatnot.
Yeah.
And like particularly like role playing games, right?
Yeah.
But I've never experienced imaginative prayer like that, and it's something that I could do more of. And
imagine, yeah, there's something really powerful, like, and like, yeah, it's just such an echo of God in our lives, like to be imaginative,
right?
Like he's the most imaginative persons, right? The Trinity ever, right? Because he created this, like he created the universe, and then he created people, and then he created people who could create concepts and ideas, right? Like crazy. I think that makes me think of like The Office when Dwight's playing Second Life, which is like a Sims version
Yeah.
of the game. And he's like, his Second Life character gets bored and depressed, and so he plays Second Life in Second Life.
Yeah, second life.
Yeah. But like that's like God created us to like there's something there paralleling God's experience with us.
Yeah. That's funny.
Yeah, and it's like just engage in life. You don't need to play Second Life.
Yeah, I think another point of like video games. You just made me think of this because like role playing, like, you know, like it could help you be more imaginative in God's experience, but like also like I know people that like will role play as like godly people, right? Like they'll play paladins or whatever in a game where like they're the holy warriors, and don't want to do anything with like the
Satanic
evil,
Yeah.
and then well, yeah, that's where I was kind of going with it. Is that I think some people can criticize video games for like having demonic representations, right?
Yeah.
Because like I mean, even Skyrim, Elder Scrolls, you have the Daedra, right? They have, and then even like I mean, like even from like the holy side, the Aedra, the 9 divines, 8 if you're getting saucy, if you know, you know. The Nords are the true.
Comment in the section.
Do we worship Talos or not? Goodness gracious. But I mean, like this is what I'm saying. So like that sounds blasphemous to someone that hasn't played this game, right?
Sure. Yeah.
But I had this conversation with my wife, talking about showing like Yu-Gi-Oh to my kid or not.
All right, and our last clip comes from one of my favorite episodes, one of Mitch's favorite episodes, an episode with John King, where he shares vulnerably about how can we grow in discipline, how can we grow in self-discipline, starting from very early on in life. Why is that something that we can prioritize and help us grow into the men we're calling to be? And not just early on in life, but like he providing a really great testimony that you're about to hear about how that's always the case. We can always begin to grow in that self-discipline, and I just really loved John's interview. The whole thing was great, but this clip was a special message that I think guys need to hear, so I will let it play.
Yeah.
And what is that saying? And I'm not saying anything revolutionary. You've heard a million people talk about this, but like, what is that saying to my daughter who is like, oh, the person I love is looking at this box more than me. And just like, how much time do I have on earth that I'm looking at a box instead of her? But I just can't say no.
Yeah.
And it's because I haven't practiced that freaking skill of saying no in these other moments.
Yeah.
And then just how much that comes up. I don't think I realized how much that comes up. Like, obviously, you know, when it comes to porn, when it comes to that, like, I knew that was a problem.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't realize just how much it comes up in, oh, yeah, I want to buy that Fortnite skin. And I literally bring up microtransactions in video games because it's a weakness for me, and I'm sure it's a weakness for other guys. But then in just like saying no to using your phone, like all of that stuff, like, man, if that was a skill I could go back and tell myself,
The younger self. Yeah.
10, 20 years ago, was like, practice that.
Saying no. Yeah.
Saying no to yourself.
Yeah.
Everything.
Yeah. I mean, like, that's like ultimately the struggle of life and relating to people is like, how do I put down my wants and to be in a relationship with somebody else? And I think that's a lot of the reason God designed like the world, us suffering pain the way that he designed it, because it's like, unless we have something that shows us like there's sacrifice, there's something worth sacrificing for, like then we have a really hard time actually choosing to sacrifice, right? So like point in cases like the cross, like he shows us the cross leads to resurrection. There's something good that comes from me actually denying myself. It comes back to like life coming from that. And he does it in a very explicit way through this painful suffering, and the same thing can happen to us. But like, if we are going to expect sunshine and rainbows when we sacrifice, like we shouldn't. We should look at Christ's example and like see the darkness that was that, and like that's the same kind of experience, although on a micro scale that we're going to experience. Like, it's not going to be easy, but that's where like it comes back to telling ourselves like, and I'm excited about this because I'm like telling you as much as I'm telling myself. It comes back to like this mindset of like, we can do hard things. like at some point we learn the script that we can't do hard things.
Yeah.
Like, and like that needs to be undone because it's like, no, we can do hard things. Are we going to screw up? Of course.
It's a hard one to undo.
Where we have weakness, like it's going to happen. We're not going to be perfect, but like we could do hard things.
Yeah.
Like it's possible. And I gotta tell myself that regularly. Like for me, it's like getting to bed on time, right? Like for whatever reason, that's a hard.
Here we are, 2 a.m.
Exactly.
in a warehouse.
In the middle of just
We're not in bed on time.
This is well worth going past bedtime though. But it's like it's one of those things where that's hard, but I have to remind myself it's like I can do hard things even if it's not perfect. And I think like the same thing could be said about like starting these, because like you're not alone with the small sacrifices, the small ways of like wanting to discipline the will so I can actually say yes to the good things that I need to say yes to. A lot of guys struggle with that. Like a lot of guys struggle with that, and you're not alone in that. Guys listening to this are not alone in that. And it can feel really daunting when we have to feel like there's a whole list of things I need to do in order to be a perfect saint.
Oh yeah.
But it's like, start small, right? Like recognize our weakness. Take a little lesson from James Clear, who has a book called Atomic Habits. Like start with like a 2-minute thing that you can say yes to. Like, is it maybe it's not an entire cold shower. Maybe it's 2 minutes of the shower are cold.
Sorry, is he the one that's like, if you're trying to read a book, just read a page every.
All right, and just a bonus clip here, beckoning back to the beginning of it all. I'm going to roll this as my conclusion. This is the very first introduction that I did for the Hey Brother podcast, introducing Bobby as our guest. And I just want to share it because it kind of highlights where we've started and where we've gone. And my beard has grown like a lot since that first episode. And so, yeah, it's a funny, like where we started, where we are today. And just want to encourage you guys to continue to follow along and to share your thoughts in the comments below on the Hey Brother podcast so far. All right. God bless.
Welcome to the Hey Brother podcast. My name is Mitch Clune. I'm a Catholic psych mentor and partner, a husband and father, and founder of Craft It for More, a mentorship practice dedicated to helping men become who God created them to be. And I'm super excited to be introducing to you this first episode of the Hey Brother podcast. I'm so pumped that today is the day, and these first few episodes are finally released, ready for you to listen to and enjoy. The Lord has blessed me with brotherhood and so many good friendships, and it's changed me in so many ways that I'll always be grateful for. And I'm just excited to share that with you through this podcast. And I want this podcast to be interactive. Like I want you guys to be able to comment and email me, and you'll hear me talk about that in every episode. So please take me up on that. This first conversation is with a really close friend of mine here in the Dayton area. He's also a husband and father. He runs a mission called the You Are Love mission. His name's Bobby Kenny, and I love anytime I get the chance to sit down and talk with him over a whiskey, over a pipe, just to talk with him and to learn more about his story. And so without any further ado, I want you guys to enjoy this episode.